to Welshpool. Welcome to Welshpool, nestled in the Powys countryside on the banks of the mighty River Severn. Despite what you may have heard, it's not a town full of peculiar characters who talk in a strange tongue and have rejected democratic human representation in favour of voting for chip shops. No, it's a nice, welcoming place. The town where I buy groceries, sometimes go out for dinner or get my hair cut, and then very quickly drive back across the border to the bosom of civilization, Shropshire. And anyway, Welshpool is a real place. And on this channel, we like to talk about the make-believe, the fictional artistic expression. You know, books and films and stuff. I'm infatuated by the importance of location in genre fiction and its potency to set the tone, adjust that dial of disbelief, and sometimes be the focus of the whole story. We invent entire fantasy worlds where Earth and our history never even existed. New universes where any story is possible. But for some reason, they all look like medieval Europe and everybody rides a horse. There are stories that are almost about the world we know and love, but this other realm exists in parallel, and the characters can actually travel there and explore other layers of reality. But when it comes to atmospheric world building and extracting the most out of the concept of fictional locations, nothing quite beats the uncomfortably uncanny and slightly isolated small town. So please indulge me and allow me to present a few of, in my opinion, the most intriguing, disturbing places in science fiction, horror, whatever genre, the bailiwick of weird towns. At time of recording, we've just lost one of our greatest filmmakers, visionary, surrealist storyteller, artist, David Lynch. His entire filmography has an extremely strong identity. The offbeat performances under his direction, the soundscape, the lighting, you just know that it's a David Lynch joint. Location is vital to the mood that he's painting. These films wouldn't be the same if they were shot in just any old place. He has built the fabric of the story from the ground up. Eraserhead uses this knackered industrial hellscape and filthy apartments. Wild at Heart embraces the freedom and danger of the open road, and the second half of his filmmaking career is fixated on Los Angeles. But we're in the hunt for a weird fictional town that brings more to the story than just backdrop and vibe. Blue Velvet almost takes the crown with Lumberton, North Carolina. Actually, the film is set in Lumberton, but filmed in Wilmington, about an hour down the road. Both are real places. Although the depiction of the town serves the autobiographical purpose of mirroring Lynch's childhood home and revealing the horrific underbelly of small-town America, that recurring theme of the light and the dark, for the purpose of this video, Lumberton is overshadowed by what Lynch did next. Twin Peaks may be the perfect example of what I'm looking for, aided enormously by the fact that Lynch and his writing partner, Mark Frost, were actively trying to create a pseudo-allegorical homage to the weird town trope. It has all the classic hallmarks. Agent Cooper is the fish out of water who is sent to the town to investigate a murder, and it has a strange cast of characters. Very strange. The town is just the right size. It feels like it has one of everything: gas station, diner, high school, hotel, train station, and it's somewhat isolated out there in the Washington state wilderness. It's perfect. And crucially, it has a hook. It's not just a town that is perceived to be strange from Agent Cooper's perspective. It has, what would you call it? Supernatural science fiction, magical realism, metaphysical properties that sit comfortably alongside the drama, mystery, soap opera. No matter how out there the plot gets, no matter how brilliantly befuddling the message and the meaning become, even when the series physically moves away from the town, all roads lead back to Twin Peaks. Oh, one more thing. Two more things, actually. Twin Peaks was the dawn of the golden age of television, and most of the stories mentioned in this video wouldn't be the same or even exist if it weren't for David Lynch and Twin Peaks.
Ah, the domain of passive media consumption. I salute you all. But if you'd like a more tactile experience, you can support the channel by visiting the merch store and snagging yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie, a mug, or something else with a cool logo. You can use Buy Me a Coffee, an online tipping service, or why not be the envy of your friends and family and actually join a death cult on Patreon. You'll get access to the podcast and our exclusive Discord, home of our amazing read-alongs and riveting, dorky conversation. Links to all of that in the description. Peace!
It feels right to talk about the Wayward Pines trilogy by Blake Crouch straight after Twin Peaks because, let's just say that it wears its influence on its sleeve, especially the first book. For the record, I love these books, and I see nothing wrong with standing on the shoulders of giants. I do it in every video. I'll be very careful not to spoil anything because the series does go in a very different direction to what Twin Peaks was conjuring, and I do recommend you give it a poke. But here's the setup. Secret Service agent Ethan Burke is sent to Wayward Pines, Idaho, not Twin Peaks, Washington, to investigate the disappearance of two federal agents. Wayward Pines is exactly what you expect. Beautiful, isolated, gas station, diner, high school, hotel, train station, and then Ethan is involved in a car accident. He wakes up in the hospital, no ID, no wallet, no cell phone, and something feels a little bit off. Weird, you might say. And it gets weirder. He can't contact his family. The people that he met before the crash are now strangely aloof, and the town has a big electric fence around it. Well, that's not good. Blake Crouch captures that feeling of dread that weird town fiction usually aims for, through the characters, the evolving situation, and the mystery of why the town is like this. And I also think he nailed the big reveal. I've said too much already. This was adapted into a TV show starring the one and only Matt Dillon. 2 seasons. Apparently season 1 is pretty darn good, and season 2 is supposed to be cat poo, and then it was cancelled. If it ever pops up on a streaming service that I'm already paying for, I'll probably watch season 1. Maybe. Rolling?
Rolling.
I want to briefly touch on Lost, but only very briefly, because it doesn't quite fit the self-imposed brief of this video. You can't just let anyone in, you know. Lost obviously has the strange location dynamic and the cast of characters, and I loved the journey that the show took me on, not so much the destination. That was shit. But it does illustrate, through not having it, one of the key ingredients that makes weird town fiction so compelling. I think we need those outsiders coming into the strange place, or a comfort zone, a home, turning strange and revealing a mystery or a darkness. From, that's a TV show with a terrible name, From takes the Lost playbook and one of its main actors and goes high concept, classic cliche bananas. A family are driving down the road when they come across a fallen tree. They take a detour and end up in a small town. A weird small town. Clearly something is not right. The locals are staring at them, and when questioned, they give strange, cryptic answers. The family try to leave, but the road always leads them back to this same town. They are trapped. They soon discover that everybody else in the town has also suffered this same ordeal, and they are also trapped. Everybody's trapped. Trapped. Why didn't they call the show Trapped? Or Lost? No, not Lost. Trapped. Or Fucked. But quick, the sun's going down, and that's when the monsters come out and rip you into tiny pieces. You see, they're all fucked. From, or Fucked as it's sometimes called, has all the components to be a great weird town story, but it lacks finesse. It's all a bit bloody obvious. Somebody explained to me once that From and Lost are very, very good at building and filling the mystery box, but not so great at handing the audience a satisfying solution. And sometimes we really need that. But not always. I never want to know for sure what Twin Peaks is all about, but Lost and Fucked, I certainly do. If you're not from my corner of the globe, there's a pretty good chance that you've never heard of Royston Vasey. No, not the real-life name of Roy Chubby Brown, the potty-mouthed comedian who used to wear a silly hat on stage. I'm talking about the weird fictional town on the BBC TV show The League of Gentlemen. No, not the 1958 novel written by John Boland. Concentrate. Royston Vasey fits the profile for a weird town, mainly due to its colourful characters, but also its self-awareness of the weird town concept. Clearly the writers, who are also the three principal actors in the show, are big fans of the subgenre and have reimagined it to fit their style and humour. Yes, The League of Gentlemen is a dark comedy, a British dark comedy no less. It's the best kind. What sets this apart from other TV shows is the structure. There are about 50 recurring characters, all played by the writers, and each scene is like an extended comedy sketch. In turn, these sketches tell a broader story over the course of the series. On top of this patchwork of vignettes is the bigger picture, the story framework for the entire show. And Series 1 in particular hits the weird town motherlode. Royston Vasey is a somewhat isolated town in the north of England. One of the taglines for the show is, "This is a local shop for local people." Some of the residents don't take too kindly to outsiders. But oh no, a new road is planned to be built, potentially destroying the relative solitude. These bizarre characters come into direct contact with normal people, and horror and hilarity ensue. And lots of nosebleeds, animal mutilations, and incest. We shall conclude this video with the King, Stephen King, perhaps the author that utilises and understands the weird town concept better than anybody. Now, it's not as simple as Stephen King just setting some of his novels in weird towns. However, that will appear to be the case if you just pick up and read something like It or Needful Things or Salem's Lot. It's much, much bigger than that. Over the last, 50 years or so, King has built his own universe, a multiverse in fact, where some of these towns and characters overlap and form a network of loose narrative around his Dark Tower series. So he kind of has an explanation for all the weirdness, which I would think would take the shine off the whole idea. If we find ourselves back in Derry or Castle Rock, we may know what to expect. But it works because King is a great storyteller, and he knows just how and when to turn up that weird town vibe. And he packs it full of dread and mystery, over and over again. I think it comes down to what he wants the story to focus on, and then he moulds the weird town around that idea. For example, Under the Dome is not the best example of the weird town aesthetic, but King borrows the paranoia and the single location element and applies it to this unique situation. King understands the power of the small town mentality, the extended municipal family, but more importantly, he understands the horror and the weirdness when that familiarity is broken. Whoops,